Okay, so mock exam, DEB, we're doing suspense, we're doing part C. Right, this one says sold goods and credit. First of all, if you sell goods and credit, it's sales and it's debtors because someone owes you money. Now, just to recap, this all comes back to the sales day book. Now, in the sales day book, you sold these goods to Barry's Bakery. The amount you sold was 12,200. The government want you to collect a VAT for them of 1,647. So they want you in total to take this amount out of the debtor. So you're going to have to collect this amount of money. You're going to give this to the government and you're going to keep this as sales. So you have three accounts. You should have sales, VAT and debtors. So again, if we go through what each of these would be, your sales again would be revenue because it's something that happens all the time and you're making money. So if your sales go up, it should be on the credit side. VAT is a little bit more difficult. VAT can be an asset or can be a liability. It might be an asset if the government owe you money, but if you've collected for the government, it's a liability. So every question is going to be a little bit different. Debtors is an asset, so when they owe you money, it will be shown on the debit side, and when they owe you less, it's on the credit side. So if you look at this scenario here, your sales should go up are really 12,200. You have collected money for the government when you sell. Okay, when you sell, you collect money for the government. So you've collected this, or you will collect it. So it's going to be a liability because you have to give that money to the government. The debtor, on the other hand, will pay you everything. So that should be on this side, on the debit side, sorry. So you have your two entries on the credit and your entry on the debit. That's how you would enter this correctly. So let's read through it. So the only entries in the accounts were the VAT inclusive figure. So just make sure that you understand what that means. VAT inclusive means that you have included VAT. Now the figure that includes VAT is 13,487. Okay. Now that figure was entered on the debit side of the equipment. Now, I haven't mentioned equipment there. So what they actually did, put this in blue, they opened up equipment and on the debit side they put in the figure including VAT, which is 13,487, and the VAT exclusive figure, so the VAT exclusive figure means the figure without the VAT, was entered on the debit side of the creditor, the debtors. Okay, so that was 12,200. Okay, so this is what, in the circles, that is what you did. In the black is what I need to do. So if we look at this, I need to put this in correctly into the sales. I need to put it into the VAT. I'm going to go back to this account in a minute. Should never be in your equipment, so I need to take it out of my equipment. Now let's look at the problem here. I've put this on the wrong side. So the first thing I do, I want you to fix your mistake. I want you to put 12,200 on this side to cancel this out, and then I want you to put this in. Now you can do it separately, or you can do it as a combined figure. And if I was putting that in as a combined figure, 26,047 would be the combined figure. I'd always go with the combined figure. So if you're putting this in here, you have sales 12,200. You have VAT 1,647. You have debtors, and again I'm putting in the combined figure, but you could put in two separate figures if you want. 26,047, and I'm putting in the equipment 13,487. Now again, if you're worried and don't know whether you've to use suspense or not, just have a look at both sides, add them up, and if they don't add up, then you're going to have to put in a suspense. So if we look at this, I'm just going to check the debit side there. Sorry, no, 16 plus. I'm getting 27,334, so I don't have enough there for the two sides to balance. So I put in 1,287 here to make a balance, and that would be my suspense. Okay. Now again, we're going to go through each one of these and see how they affect my profit and loss on my balance sheet in part C and D. Okay, sales is definitely something that happens all the time. It's revenue, and revenue should be on the credit. It is on the credit, so sales is a good thing. So I'm going to add it to my profit and loss. VAT is an asset or liability, so that's the balance sheet. Debtors is an asset, that's the balance sheet. Equipment is an asset, and suspense is going to go into suspense. So let's look at these two. This is VAT, it's on the credit side, so that'll be in your current liabilities. Debtors, it's on the debit side. Debtors is on the debit side, so I'm going to add that to my debtors. Equipment is an asset. Assets are on the debit side. This, however, is on the credit side, so I will subtract it. And then I told you I'm dealing with suspense separately. So that's part C done, doing the general journal and showing you how to enter it for part C and D.